Hi, I'm Georgina and this is Sarah and we're with Avocado Property, and we hear from a lot of people who are needing to sell their property or a loved one's property because they need to go into a care home. So we have brought in the lovely Sandra from Hallmark Luxury Care Homes to talk through the process and give some helpful advice for you guys today. So Sandra, what things do potential residents and family members need to get prepared in order to move into a care home?
Hello both. Thank you very much for having me. It's a pleasure being here today. Start with doing research. It's very important to visit a couple of care homes and don't leave it for last minute. You know, when you're doing it under pressure, is always that rush to make a decision, and then you have that feel in the back of your mind, did I make the right choice? Did I do the right research? Did I spoke with the right people? You know, that is quite important. If they want to know more about how to look for care, and we have a lot of information about it on our website. So if they just go to Hallmark Care Homes website, they can find that information there in kind of a structure, how to look for care and what to do. But research is important. What's the care homes in the local area or the area, if they want to move the loved one there, what care homes there are, what do they offer, understand a little bit about mum and dad or whoever they're looking for. They could brothers, sisters, nieces, it could be anyone. And understand if the care homes they're looking for are the right ones and provide the right care and have the right environment. And once you visit the care home, it's the same thing as looking for a new home. You have to have that gut feeling. Like you said, when you walk through the door, you need to feel, wow, this is exactly what I was looking for. So when you visit, let's say 2 or 3 care homes, you can see the difference when you walk through the door in each one of them. And then get to know the home if you can. Get to know the people that work there. Bring the prospective resident to visit the home, because that eases them into the environment of a care home without using the word care home itself. Yeah. So I'd say research is the main thing, and don't leave it for last minute.
What about financial and practical side of things?
So one thing that is very important is to see if they have power of attorney in place, to see if they can make decisions on behalf of their loved ones, either for property and finance or health and welfare. I know people don't value the health and welfare one as much as they do property and finance, but they're both equally important.
Okay, so having both aspects.
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Also see if they have a will in place, if there's anything in the will that says what their wishes are, if they have a funeral plan, all this is quite important. Sometimes they have it in a drawer, but they never tell the family that they've done it. So see if all this in terms of logistic is in place. Obviously talk to them, see how they feel about it, talk to their GP, if they're coping at home, if they're not. And then on the other side, obviously look at their finances. There is any investments. Sometimes there's 2-3 accounts to get from. If they don't have power of attorney for property and finance, they won't be able to have access to these accounts. Obviously look at it properly, get someone in like yourselves to evaluate the property, talk to them through it. That is the hardest part, because that's their story, and they need an expert like yourselves to go in and listen to their story, listen to how they grow up in that home, because it's hard to let go, but they need the right advice. And if I can give one advice today is look for the experts. There are financial advisors, there are yourselves, the agents that you can reach out to, can give you some guidance on what the right thing is to do.
Yeah, I think that it's crucial, isn't it, to get that right power team, behind you, and have the right people that are doing it for the right reasons as well, and that will have that level of empathy that these people will need, because it's I can only imagine it must be gut-wrenching to be almost forced into having to leave your family home that people might have been in for decades. So it's a real certain approach that needs to be taken for the well-being of the whole family as well.
It is, and also there are a lot of professionals out there that can help, but if you go straight to a care home, at least a Hallmark care home, we are able to give them information or contacts of professionals that have an expertise in that subject. There are a lot of people out there that can do the same role, but not everybody has that expertise. We do a lot of networking. We speak with a lot of professionals, and we can provide them with contacts as well to reach out. Yeah.
You just don't know where to start.
Yeah.
Especially when you've got that added stress on you.
Yeah.
it's worth its weight in gold to be able to have that assistance.
Yeah, like somebody to guide through the whole
Exactly.
process, such as yourself.
If there is a sense of urgency, or if the needs have changed, the hospitals normally have directories, they give out, GPs have it as well, but sometimes you just go and Google and do your own research, and you don't even know where to start. And that's one of the questions I ask is, where did you hear about us? I just went on Google and see what care homes there were in the area, then reach out to each one of them and have that feel.
So if somebody did need to sell a home to finance moving into a care home, does that need to be done prior to them moving in, or with short notice, can that be done after they've moved into the care home?
That's a really good question. The answer is yes, they can move into a care home before they sell the property, especially if there's a sense of urgency there. There is a threshold which we need to abide to, which is £23,500. All this information is on our website. There's a lot of information on the Age UK website as well. If they're under the threshold, so if their savings is under £23,500, local authority have programs that the families can apply for, like the 12 weeks disregard or the deferred payment, and that will help with the care while the property is on the market.
Oh, brilliant. So,
yeah.
Okay, that's really
so good. And that is a good start. But obviously, if they have savings, they can move into a care home without having to reach out to local authority and put the property in the market in the meantime. But yes, they can move into a care home before they put the property in the market. And sometimes it is better, because if you have strangers coming in a home to have viewings, and while you're there, your emotions will be all over the place, because you know what is happening and why it's going on. And to be fair, let's be honest, nowadays you do have to sell your property to pay for care most of the time. But again, there are ways to manage those finances, and that's why the financial advisors can support in there. So reach out to them.
It's a really good point on, the family members. We had one recently where the elderly resident really didn't want to move, and we did viewings at the appropriate time. Came around to take the pictures, didn't we? And the lady answered the door, and we'd never met her, and we sort of panicked, thinking, oh no, like and she had been told, and she was perfectly pleasant to us, but behind the, when we weren't there, she was giving her son a bit of trouble, and he just said it's got to be done. And with that, empathy, we sat down and had a really good chat with her, didn't we, with some biscuits. So it was great. But we really do understand the turmoil that they're going to be going through.
They are, and that's why I like to visit them at home, if they're comfortable with me visiting, or one of us visiting, having a cup of tea with them, because there's that fear, even that the family have said, we've visited, we've seen it, they don't know anyone on the home sometimes, because they're not able to get into a wheelchair to visit the places or the care homes, and they just go, they trust the family. But getting to know me, at least that bond starts, and they can tell me about the home and what they're leaving behind, and I can assure them that they can take anything they like from the home, as long as it fits in the room. They can decorate it with their pictures, they can put the family pictures around, make it really homely, really theirs.
That's the thing sometimes as well, isn't it? Because change is scary for everybody. But when you've built a whole lifetime, if you've raised a family, and it's not a house, is it? It's the home. And people attach that to the property that they're in. So I suppose it's helping them transition to realise that it's sad because you're leaving the house behind, but you don't have to leave the home and those memories. So it's, a lot of people, they wouldn't have done any sort of change for maybe 30, 40 years. But it's a big thing to do alone, that it really helps to have somebody there that's holding a hand and making that less daunting.
Yeah, because if you think about it, most of them, they are moving on their own. They have lost their partner. They're thinking they're losing their family home and all their memories. So there's a lot of loss there, and we try to reassure them that they don't have to lose it. We want to hear those stories.
You don't have to grieve that part,
no, and starting that process early, even if you think, I don't think they'll be ready to move just yet, but do your research, go and visit, start the process, and break that fear of what is a care home. That makes the transition much, much easier.
So do you ever find that somebody is a new resident and they're really sort of closed off and don't really want to socialise, or they just don't want to be there? How do you kind of overcome that and bring them out of their shells?
We try to be alongside them, through that first couple of weeks, to make sure they feel at home, they understand how the service works. And when we introduce them to the rest of the team, can be quite overwhelming. And on that first day, everybody comes and knock on the door, and I'm this person and I do this. Can I help you with anything? And if you need anything, it's me. They they forget. So they have a welcoming pack that we give them with our pictures, and they know exactly who we are and what we do, which they can refer to afterwards. So if they want their pictures on the wall, they know the maintenance manager will come around. If they want to choose something special for lunch, the hospitality manager will come around and talk to them about it. The chef will come and visit. We all make an effort to get to know them, and that slowly we will earn their trust. It takes a little bit of time, but it's about earning their trust.
Confidence as well, isn't it?
Yes.
Confidence building with
Yes. And then some residents, they've never been a social butterfly, and obviously there is also that fear that they're going to be forced to be on a group and they don't feel comfortable. And we just try to assure them it's about what they want to do what they want to do it. There are options which they can choose, but they don't have to join them if they don't want to. It's down to them to make that decision. We will encourage them and we show them, but if they don't want to stay and join the activity that day, that it's okay. There's the cafe, there's the garden, there's lots of places they can go. The hairdresser comes every week, the nails done every week. We'll pamper them as much as we can to make sure they settle and they feel at home.
What makes Hallmark stand out and is so different as a care home?
In Hallmark, we pride ourselves for being different, to look at people's individualities and see who they are, sit with them, get to know them, and then make sure that we do a home-to-home transition and we help them. It is quite daunting, that decision of moving from their own space where they've lived for years. So we try to be there. It's a long journey, and we just sit and we listen, we get to know them, they get to know the home.
And obviously you have different events and there's all sorts of things that go on that the residents can enjoy as well. So obviously we've visited you and seen one of the care homes, and it was a really welcoming environment. So
it's like a hotel, really, wasn't it? It was a really nice environment.
So thank you. Yes, it is. We do have activities. Obviously they are in that environment. The social part of it is really important. Most of them are on their own home, but by themselves. Even though they have people in to help a couple of times a day to visit, there is a lot of hours in the day they are on their own, watching TV. Even that the care home word, is quite hard for them to accept. Let's say sometimes. The social part of it is so important. Getting to see people all the time, having just a coffee with them, getting to hear their story, tell their own story, introduce to their families. It just becomes a part of a bigger family, and that's what we say all the time. We are a bigger family. We want families to feel at home, and we say when you go to your parents' house, sit down, you make yourself a cup of tea, and you relax. We want the same feel. When they come and see their parents or friends at the care home, we want them to be able to go to the cafe. Make a coffee, sit down with them, read the papers, go in the garden, take them out for a meal. Nothing needs to change on their day-to-day life.
As soon as we walked in, I think the first thing when you walk through the door, you've got the incense so you've instantly got that nice mood, calming. It smelt nice, it was clean. It's
the sort of place that if you had a loved one that was going into care, you'd be happy for them to go there.
We make sure they are involved in a day-to-day life as well. They have a say in everything that happens in the home, from the activities that we do on a day-to-day, from the food is in the menu, they are involved. They can help making those choices because, again, it is their home. And we have the privilege to work there. So why shouldn't they be involved and make those decisions as well? So they do like that. They really enjoy it.
Okay, well, thank you so much for your time today, Sandra. Just lastly, if people are interested in, considering Hallmark luxury care homes as an option, how can they get in touch or find out more?
Well, they can reach out to our website, visit Hallmark Care Homes, or to our care home in Malmilles Lane in Wokingham.
Okay, great. Well, thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you for having me.